Was it luck that allowed me to grow this big bushy Monstera Thai Constellation underneath my staircase? We're going to find out. All right, so chances are I'm probably the worst plant parent there ever was or will be because I took my giant Monstera Thai Constellation here, big bushy one, the mother plant, as you'll recall from when I took the cutting of its baby plant and potted it up. And then I put this baby underneath our staircase where there was like no light underneath there, and it had been under there for months. I just remembered it the other day as I was walking up the stairs and I look underneath the stairwell and I'm like, oh, hey, you. Well, that and the fact that my husband's aunt came and cleaned our entire house the other day and cleared out that area. And I was just like, wow, that's stunning. Not only stunning, but somehow underneath the staircase, it managed to grow this beautiful, like half moon looking leaf. Isn't that stunning? That's its first or second new leaf to come out since I did that propagation cutting with the other Tycon, which we're going to get to in a second. The first one that came out was this kind of dwarfy looking one, which is still kind of cute, you know. But I can't believe I left it underneath the staircase for that long. I'm such a cruel person. But I can tell you this, okay? I also forgot to water it for a month. Like I'm about to tell you guys something really important and, a tip. Well, I do have some tips for you. Some tips on how to get your Monstera to grow this healthy, this large, and withstand and survive not so great conditions due to somebody like a Kevin. So here's the thing about Monstera Thai Constellation that I have learned over the years. And if you're a frequent follower and viewer of my videos, you will know how big and bushy I get these plants to be. And it's really actually simple. It involves a couple things, all right? So in order to get them this big and bushy, you need really good humidity, you need bright indirect light, and you need consistent watering. Now, you're probably going to say, well, Kevin, clearly you did not give this plant a lot of those things. And you're right. But the fact of the matter is that I got this plant to be so healthy, so large, that it could withstand conditions where I neglected it and still it thrived so much that it popped out a beautiful brand new leaf. Like this one here, this half moon leaf. So let me grab it from this shot to show you guys. It's such a beautiful leaf, and I had no clue that it was growing in like this until looking at it underneath the stairwell. Now, mind you, underneath the stairwell, the only kind of light that comes in is from the western facing windows, which right now are sure getting a lot of great bright light. It is summertime after all here in the northern hemisphere, but even with that, we've had a lot of cloudy days here recently in Denver. And so it still continued to thrive. Now, about, oh gosh, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I decided to put in a grow light underneath there. Mostly because we had an extra light stand down here in our living room that wasn't being used. And I'm like, well, let's just tuck this underneath the stairwell with other things that I'm not using, like this Monstera Thai Constellation. And so I decided to plug it in and allowed for the plant to get more light under there. And once that light started hitting it, I honestly didn't notice rapid growth like it had been over the last couple of months, but it did help supplement the lack of light underneath there, which was crucial. But this plant in particular, not only is it the high humidity, which it is high humidity in here, I typically keep it, now mind you, we're in Denver where it's very dry, but I typically keep it around 60% overnights. Once the sun goes down and everything, the humidity in the front of my plant stand where a lot of my rare tropical plants are, like my queen anthurium, my king anthurium, and several others are, that area can get up to 85 to 90% humidity overnight. But the trick is having good airflow. Having good airflow is so crucial to these tropical plants that love high humidity. Because if you allow for that humidity just to sit stagnant, it's going to create a lot of fungal, bacterial, and mold issues, not just on your plant, but also in your home, which is not great. Which is why I have little mini fans scattered all over my plant display and in my home. Now, without even realizing or thinking about the fact that the Thai Constellation, this big bushy one, was underneath there, I did have a fan in that area just because this area underneath the stairwell leads into one of our pantry rooms. And so I like to have a nice little fan over there just to keep things moving along as I go over there because I keep a lot of my plants tools inside there. But one of the biggest things, one of the biggest ways I was able to get this Thai constellation to balloon in size this way, and this was a trick my buddy Todd told me a couple years back, is to give them in every single one of their waterings. Now, mind you, this is year round, to give them a little bit of fish fertilizer. That's right. Fish poop is really the key to getting these big balloon-like leaves. So I use Alaska Fish Fertilizer 511 because that's the one I've had success with. I've never tried any others, and I know that Alaska Fish Fertilizer 511, in my experience at least, tends to not smell because I only use a little drop of it in each watering. But man, I have to tell you, the moment I started adding fish fertilizer into the watering, even just a drop each week, these plants instantly, within like 1 to 2 weeks, their new leaves, started ballooning in size. And not only their new leaves, but their current leaves started growing healthier and stronger and just look more vibrant and beautiful. And so it's one of the reasons why, even with the unfortunate neglect, and I am so sorry, plant, I am so sorry, was able to survive under there and still thrive was because of the health that I had given it prior. The care that I had given it prior really helped pay off. Now, what I'm doing is I'm just simply cleaning the plant's leaves, the foliage, because, being underneath a stairwell for a couple of months will lead to a lot of dust that's built up on the plant's leaves. Doing this, though, is great specifically for three reasons. One, there's an aesthetic look. Obviously, you want your plants to look super nice and shiny. Two, this is the biggest one. This is very important. Photosynthesis. If the plant's leaves are covered in dust or any other matter, it'll make it more difficult for the plant to photosynthesize. So doing this, just simply rubbing off the foliage, will allow for the plant to take in sunshine a lot easier and allow for it to grow much healthier and stronger. But then there's the third reason. This one's another important one too. Pests, plant pests. Plant pests love to hide underneath the foliage, underneath the leaves of plants, like monsteras, your alocasia, oh, especially your anthurium. And when they do that, doing this, just wiping underneath their leaves, will help rub away those pests and any eggs that they may have left there laid. So this is so crucial to do. And I probably think it's been three, maybe even longer. I know that it was underneath there for 3 months, but I guarantee you, even before that, I probably hadn't wiped this plant's leaves down in forever. And so that's what I want to do is get this plant back to a really healthy state. And I also wanted to move it to the front of my plant display because being underneath the stairwell obviously wasn't, too great for the plant. And it was also taking up space and we needed to get under there. And I want to have some of my larger plants that are more vibrant and beautiful up in that plant display. And this will make it pop just so much better. Because right now, the cutting that I took from it is currently up there in the plant stand. We're going to get to that in a moment, but I need to tell you guys what's interesting about that cutting. And you can click on this link up in the corner to see exactly what happened. Was when I took a cutting of this plant from this mother plant, the one that has grown there, man, oh man, was it a challenge because I decided to water propagate it. And I wasn't thinking it through because Monstera Thai Constellation, more so than any other Monstera, are prone to root rot. Root rot, the number one killer of our houseplants. And so having it sit in a water propagation vessel for even a couple of days wasn't a good idea. It's its old roots that were in there that had grown from the soil and just through its aerial roots started to rot and smell, and it was a bad situation. But fortunately, I have good friends who are smart with plants and who teach me things when I screw up, like my buddy Todd, who owns the Bronze Petal here in Denver. He told me, Kevin, that's the issue. This plant does not like to be soaked in water, and yet you are water propagating it. Silly Kevin. And so what he told me to do was order an air stone off of Amazon. And in doing so, the thing was like $5, $10. I put it into the water vessel where the plant was water propagating, took care of the issue right away. Plant grew healthy roots, potted up, and now it's that beautiful tropical plant. So that's the story of its cutting. That's the story of this mama plant. Oh, and not only that, but with this new leaf that is growing in still, this half moonish type one, there's another growth point just right over here that is growing in a second growth point. That's how healthy this plant is, was, still is, after I took a cutting from it. Is that once that cutting came out, this plant wanted to grow more and more, so it pushed out two growth points. One has already turned into two new leaves. This one will turn into another one. So that is the story of my Monstera Thai Constellation that I left underneath the stairwell for several months because I'm an awful person. I try to care for my plants as best as I can, I swear. But if you guys have already stayed tuned for the rest of this video, I just want to thank you so much again. And please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification ding dong bell for more interesting and fun planty content just like this. And if you like Monstera Thai Constellation, like I do, I need you to watch this video up in the corner because that will give you a good, in-depth how-to care guide that not only got me to have this one explode in size, but to have one other that I got for $15 at a local grocery store. And that baby is popping. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.